A prominent New York City chef and business owner, once honored for his involvement in the community, was arrested in a massive drug bust. Edor Mazai, 61, owner of Chez Vous Catering and Edgewater Hall in Staten Island, was indicted on 61 counts, including criminal sale of a controlled substance, grand larceny, identity theft, and falsifying business records. Mazet and nearly 20 others were arrested on Wednesday during an extensive law enforcement raid of his business on Bay Street. Prosecutors said the businessman was the ringleader of an operation that made tens of thousands of dollars selling deadly narcotics. Mazet preyed on vulnerable people who suffered from addiction illness and oppressed them into servitude in his catering business for housing and ultimately for drug dealing. Investigators connected drugs sold by Mazet's crew to multiple overdose deaths on Staten Island. Over 150 people died of overdoses in 2023 in Staten Island, adding to the more than 830 people that died of overdoses since 2016 in the borough. Prosecutors said he would house several of his employees at his properties and pay them for their work in drugs. Mazet's bail has been set at $3 million cash and $5 million bond. Now, I'm just trying to figure out, right? Now, my eyes might be, kidding me, blinding me, whatnot, or whatever. I wear glasses, right? But I can't identify this person as black, correct? I'm just trying to make sure because what normally takes place is that they say in America that those who are part of the African American or the Black American side of the nation cause the utmost crime when it deals with narcotics all throughout the United States, right? All 50 states, it's solely due to those who are part of the Black American community, right? But yet here we have this high profiled professional chef that lives on Staten Island, right? King of Kings, probably a multi-millionaire possibly, right? And he decided to turn from a life of feeding people and chefing it up for the rich or the elite or whoever's there to a life of crime, to debilitating and taking out and destroying his own community of which he's more than likely from. They stated that he sold a variety of narcotics, and undercover cops are pretty much on this guy for a 14-month period starting in March of 2023. They also stated again that investigators linked the narcotics that he was selling by way of his crew to multiple ODs in Staten Island. Then he also stated about 150 people pretty much gone in 2023, adding to the more than 830 people that have passed to OD since 2016. And more than likely, this is all attributed to him, or at least, the things that are linked directly to this person. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people on Staten Island in that community knew exactly where all of these narcotics were coming from, but nobody said anything. They sat back and they watched their own people get destroyed from the inside out. They watched as the drugs started to take over their community, sweeping directly through, breaking up families, marriages, homes, taking kids directly out of schools, and more than likely giving a lot of these people records, putting a lot of these people behind bars, feeding that privatized jail and prison system. And again, this is a guy that is from this community. He knew what it was that he was doing. He poured money into this. He wanted to destroy his own people and make the money that he wanted to make on top of whatever he was making by any means necessary, even if that meant taking out the people in your family. And again, this is happening in America. But for whatever reason, stories like this don't really get publicized. People don't happen to talk about these stories like they would if the face of the person was a little bit different, a little bit darker, right? If the hair was woollier, if the person came from a quote unquote urban area, right? And like I said, it's a shame. It's a shame that a lot of families had to lose loved ones. It's a shame that a lot of people had to lose friends and coworkers. It's a shame that somebody like this, who has all of the money in the world, who built himself up from nothing, decided to turn to a life of crime because the money that he was making legally just wasn't good enough. He needed more. The greed started to set in. And because that greed started to set in, he was willing to sacrifice any and everybody in order to get that end result of what it is that he wanted. And you mean to tell me that it took this long to really catch this guy? And then they stated that prosecutors said that he would house several of his employees at his properties and pay them to work on his narcotics. Quote, the defendant's alleged actions plagued neighborhoods in Staten Island by littering the streets with illegal narcotics that led to overdose deaths and endangered countless more New Yorkers. And you set his bail at $3 million and then his bond at $5 million, knowing that more than likely he can actually afford any which one of those. More than likely he has a very great lawyer. I would not be too surprised if he is actually out and he's sitting back at home waiting to go through whatever trial and waiting for them to lessen whatever charges, because he's going to throw it off on a quote unquote scapegoat or a patsy, right? Because very easily he could sit up there and say like, well, I didn't really put my hands on it. It was the people that were working there. So I was putting money into a business. I didn't really know where that money was going. I could not really manage any of that. I had somebody there who is the actual manager. If you ask them, they were managing the property. They were managing everything, supposed to oversee everything. And I was just supposed to sit back and do what it is that I normally do. There's a multitude of ways that he's going to be able to get away with what it is that he did. And I can safely tell you, if it was anybody else of any other nationality, better yet, if it was somebody from an urban area, if it was somebody from the hood of Chicago, Detroit, or whatever, those individuals would not have a bail or a bond. They would be thrown directly underneath the prison. Once they found out that this individual was the reason why so many people lost their lives, they would never see the light of day ever again, unless it was to go to court, to get tried, and to get punished, and to get whatever sentencing they're going to get, and then right to the jail or the prison, where they're going to be for pretty much the rest of their lives. Like I said, it's completely crazy how they have such beautiful treatment of their own people when it deals with their own people committing these crimes, and also losing their lives by way of said people. It's amazing. And it makes you wonder, do they actually care about the lives that were lost? Do they actually mean anything at all? Because if they did, the community would have been cleaned up the streets. They would have made sure to get all of these narcotics out of their neighborhoods and their schools and out of the homes. And they would have made sure to get rid of whoever it was that was specifically peddling these narcotics to their friends, families, and coworkers, and destroying their neighborhoods over the course of these years, since 2016 that they listed. But we'll see what will take place. Pretty much, I feel like nothing will actually take place. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I listed in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.